Welcome to FOBtv, the future of business. I'm your host, Kevin Benedict. I'm a futurist here at TCS, and I want to thank each of you for joining us today. Today's guest is Guy Bloch from Bringg. Guy, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you for inviting me, and great to meet hundreds and thousands of people virtually.
Guy is the CEO of Bringg, and Bringg focuses on logistics and other things, as well as specifically the last mile logistics part of that. Let's just jump right into it, Guy. Tell me in like a 30-second description, let us know what Bringg and your team there at Bringg does.
Bringg is a delivery management platform for the last mile. We made it a mission to wake up every day and work hard with our customers and partners to democratize the last mile. And when I say to democratize the last mile, that means that we want to take from the Goliath of the market, from the marketplaces, the Amazon of the world, the Instacarts, the DoorDash, the Ubers of the world. We want to take what today belongs to them and give them the advantage in an online world and make it accessible, usable, valuable to everyone. So brands that moving from offline to online will be able to step up the game, scale up, and be able to offer convenient, cost-effective, fast, and reliable delivery for the brand's customers.
Awesome. Good job keeping it right in there. So let's talk about this concept of last mile. For those that don't live in the space of supply chains and logistics, what do you mean by last mile delivery?
Last mile delivery, if you think about it, we have few miles. We have the first mile. Eventually, their goal is to get the inventory from the manufacturers all the way to the warehouses and the stores. Eventually, a customer will go online, will make the order. That order needs to be picked up from a location and delivered to the customer. It can be food, like in QSR, quick restaurant services. It can be in groceries. It can be in retail, in all flavors of retail. It can be in critical goods like auto parts, etc. It can be in services. But eventually, the pickup and the delivery to the customer, that's the last mile.
Got it. And that has its own set of complexities, I imagine. Before we get into the complexity discussion here, how did the COVID pandemic impact last mile logistics?
Oh, there was a major impact that we saw across the board. I still remember March, April of 2020. I still remember the first sites that we saw from China. And that's before it got to Europe and Americas. And we were sitting here at our offices and we said, okay, if this is a pandemic and if this is going to expand globally, that means that every country will move into quarantines. And then either consumers will be reluctant to go into crowded places and shop in stores, or will be restricted in countries that will take a more harsh regulation towards fighting the pandemic. And what we anticipated is that there will be a massive change of customers that are used to buy in stores and move immediately to online. And obviously, the entire market is not ready for that. Marketplaces, of course, that will be their opportunity. But the entire market will not be ready for that. And therefore, shops will be closed. Customers and consumers will move online. Those that are ready will be able to fight and keep those customers with them. Those that are not will lose that demand in the online to the marketplaces. And the way we looked at that was our job right now is to take everything that we've built so far for large brands in the world and really make that accessible, usable, and valuable to everyone. But we also realize that we're going to see two waves as a result of the pandemic. The first wave will be the chaos wave and the reactive wave, where every brand will try to figure out how do I take control of my inventory and my drivers and my partners and everything that needs to come together. And by building different patches, either we build in-house or we buy different solutions and try to patch it together, try to assume control of this game. It will be a wave of so many mistakes, things that are not built strategically and fundamentally, a lot of key pillars of the last mile that will be left aside just to be able to cope with the change. And then we realized that there will be a second wave, and the second wave that we're feeling right now. And that's the wave of, okay, pandemic is vanishing. The numbers are bouncing back to what it used to be. Consumer behavior has changed permanently. So when you buy today, you don't just buy in stores, you also buy online. And those that give you the best experience, you will buy from them. And the best experience is from shopping to delivery and return. What we realize is that in the second wave, customers will understand that it's more than just doing different patches. To really do last mile properly, and not just last mile, but to really compete in an online world, you would need to have a complete set of advanced commerce capabilities, a complete set of logistics layer, from inventory management system to order management system to warehouse management system. That area, from order pickup, from order creation to order pickup, that needs to go through digital transformation. And then the third layer will be the last mile, pickup and delivery, shipping millions of packages to millions of consumers from stores, from warehouses, from lockers, using your drivers, using someone else's driver. And it's never one, it's so many partners that you need to work nationwide and globally. Some of that is scheduled, some of that is on demand. And we didn't even talk about returning the package. All of that will have all those, the entire retail stack, and specifically in that area of last mile logistics, will have to go through digital transformation. And we anticipated that customers will move from being reactive to, okay, let's put the foundation to that. I must say, it all played out as we see. The pandemic had its massive hit. I would say that it was not necessarily a healthy wave of customers. We got many customers, but they were not really ready for the digital transformation, and they struggle. I look at the cohort of the customers before pandemic. They are so successful and so efficient that online became a big part of their business. But they did it right because they did it without the pressure. So that first wave is now turning into a second wave, and customers are really taking a fundamental approach to digital transformation.
Thanks for walking us through that step by step. That's invaluable. Thanks, Guy. Now, some of what you just brought up here, I also see you Bringg published a report called 2022 State of Last Mile Logistics, where you share some of your experiences and the findings of your research. And it says that this rapid growth, as you just talked about, because of the pandemic, often comes at the expense of deficiencies as well, because you lose visibility when you're rapidly expanding that last mile logistics. Sometimes you'll lose visibility, you'll lose efficiencies, you'll lose control over external resources. Talk to us about those challenges. You shared some of them. Your report also brings those up. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, first of all, I recommend everyone that is listening to our conversation, take the time to look at that report. We work very hard to do research with hundreds of retailers to really identify that and share the deficient areas, and then share it with everyone else in order to educate the market. So through you to the market, that will be great if we can do that. Listen, in the end of the day, last mile is one of those areas where the physical world and technology meet. Most of my career I spent in enterprise software, but it was never a physical world. It was always behind the scenes. If it's log management, if it's testing, if it's data center management, all those areas are really behind the scenes. One of the unique areas in last mile is that you're actually bringing physical world together with technology. What you're trying to do, you're trying to digitize that physical world, the store associates, the drivers, the cars, the inventory, all those pieces, you're trying to digitize them so you connect them into one platform. So once everything is digitized and connected, the whole idea of orchestration, automation, optimization of last mile, so brands can create exceptional customer experience in the most efficient way, it's a data game. it's a data game. For us, it's a data algorithm. And that presents a lot of challenges. So when we look at the pandemic and we look at customers coming in, they didn't look at that strategically. They looked at that as a point solution. I need someone to get from here to here, pick up something, deliver that. I don't care if everything that is happening in between. I should care, because everything that is happening in between, one, increase the customer experience. Two, that's the most expensive part. That's where you need to drive that efficiency. And that efficiency comes, I don't know if you guys know, but more than 50% of the supply chain cost, it's really last month. So there's such a huge room to invest in order to create ROI, return on those investments. However, to do that, you have to treat it strategically. During the pandemic, customers didn't look at that way, and then they lost a lot. What is that they lost? First of all, well, you just now have all the driver capacity integrated into your platform. You have the ability to integrate so many networks of drivers, your own network, if you build your own network, third-party networks, and it's never one. Maybe it's Uber, maybe it's DoorDash, maybe it's Shipt, it's Lyft, it's FedEx. But you have the opportunity to bring all of them and connect them. And when everything is digitized and connected, now you have visibility to data, and you have visibility to real-time data. And now you can start building the customer experience already in the shopping experience when they go and they look at an item, and they can see, okay, for this driller or for this product that I want to buy, already here are the different options. I can get it in an hour. I can get it same day. I can get it tomorrow. I can pick the time. I can do curbside. And then in the checkout, when you check out, suddenly it becomes so much more appealing, so much more compelling. I can do so many ways. I can go and do curbside. It can come to me. I can choose how, where, and when I want to be served. And then it goes into the execution itself and looking at the customer experience. Where is the driver? Who got my delivery? Where is the driver? How long before they're going to pick it up? How many stops before they're coming to me? How can I chat with the guy? How can I talk to them so I can be in control of my experience? And all those pieces, if they don't come as part of a strategy and a vision, you leave all the goodies you leave on the table. So what we saw is that the market managed to patch together solution just to keep their heads above the water. But now they're realizing, okay, it doesn't do well for me on customer service or customer experience. It doesn't do well for me on cost reduction. I need to look at that strategically.
And some of those challenges that your report calls out when you're expanding your last mile part ecosystem, if you would, and how you can deliver those services. There's shipper onboarding and integrations a challenge, visibility into those outsourced delivery partners. Maybe they have their own system, you have a different system. How do you make sure you can see what they're seeing? Carrier and driver management, overwhelmed customer service support, managing multiple carriers that may not all have the same level of support or even digital maturity. Are those the same areas that came from your report? Are there any others you want to add to that, or does that cover it?
It covers that, and there's so much more underneath that. Again, it's a digital transformation, shipping millions of packages to millions of consumers from so many locations, using so many the driver capacities, different types, scheduled, on demand, their return, all of that. There's so many moving pieces in it that if you don't do that right, you can still achieve the use case that you wanted, but you will leave a lot on the table. And that's the main challenge that we see with our customers. The other challenge is that, and this is something that TCS, you guys, it will resonate with you because in a way, that's your role in the world. But when we show up to customers, we show up with our technology, with our expertise. It's not enough. We are just a product. Where's the process? Where are the people? Where is the company, the customer that we work with? Where is the right priority? Where is the executive priority? Is what we're doing impacting business KPI all the way up at the bottom line and the top line? Because if yes, then we will have an executive sponsor. Where are all the people, the product manager, the project manager, the IT that needs to interface with us? Many times when we show up to customers, we actually realize that they are not ready. They're not ready for that. And that slows down the implementation, and that slows down the time to the value that they were looking to do. Speaking in front of all the audience here, the virtual audience, I definitely think TCS has a big role in that, in help shape executives' mind in the area of logistics and last mile, so they understand what potential they can untap, but then actually lead them through that and increase the confidence by giving a very coherent and clear path from day one to onboarding, to realizing the first value and success, and then into expansions nationwide and globally.
So, Guy, you pointed out earlier that 50% of all the cost in that supply chain may in fact be incurred in that last mile.
Last mile.
Wow. So if you can be more efficient, that can be the source of many competitive advantages, I imagine. Is that how you see it?
When you look at that 50%, again, it's pure cost. It's true cost, and it's the cost of the physical world, and you have to make it efficient. I can give you just two examples real quick. First of all, we're just now having a conversation with a logistic company, and what we show them for a 1.2 million pound investment, they'll be saving conservatively 4.2 million pound a year. And that's the first use case. That's the conservative. And then you ask yourself, but how come? How come it's so reachable in our hands and we haven't managed to do that? Well, they realize that if in every depot that they have, they can reduce one route a day, it saves them per depot about $50,000 a year. However, when you multiply that by the amount of the depots, suddenly you see a massive impact on savings. In our simulation, we actually show them that we can save you 2.2 routes per depot. So that even took it to a much bigger magnitude of impact. Another thing is they have a very big team to do Wismo calls. Where is my order? People that sit in a center somewhere, and all their job is to pick up the phone, hear the customer ask, where is my order? And tell him, where is the order? Great. When you establish good customer communication and you give the experience in their hands, you don't need to ask those questions because you see it and you track it. And even winning new business, your ability to go and pitch to a new customers your services. And with that, you show the customer experience that comes with your offering that allows you to differentiate. So we're seeing that impact in the areas that we're doing. But that's one. And that was one example. Another example I will tell you, now during a project, after the customer already signed with us, or after they're already onboarded and enabled, we realized that there is another way to improve our algorithm for the route optimization. We did that change. What shocked us was that we reduced the cost of the last mile by 15%. 15%. It was a change in the algorithm and how we approached the problem that allowed that change to save them 15% of that cost. That's material. It moves the needle.
Oh, it certainly does. So, Guy, we all read about all kinds of new technologies, from drone and robot deliveries to reverse logistics and in-route manufacturing. But how close are we to these things actually being ready to scale up? Are we still looking a decade out there, or are you seeing these things implemented today?
Great question. Looking into the future and trying to anticipate what will happen, I can tell you that, first of all, it's here. It's already here, but it's still early adoption. In the crossing the chasm, we are in the innovative space. We have a customer like Coop in the UK, a large grocer. They actually using robots to do deliveries in neighborhood, and works, but it works as a pilot right now. They're finding a lot of upside using that, including getting the robot to the location and just find that all the kids are waiting for the robot to put back a letter to call to tell them how much they like. It's almost like it became part of the customer experience. So we're seeing that. We see that, but still as an innovation, still very innovative, still early adoption. And So we definitely see that. What will make it mass market and mainstream? In my mind, two things. First of all, regulation. It has to be governed by the regulation. You cannot have drones all over the cities. So there's still a lot of work to do, even autonomous vehicles. So you don't need a driver. It's just a car driving to do those packages. That's great. Still need to go through a lot of innovation, through a lot of regulations and be defined. So it's even accessible and available to do it in the markets. And the second thing is the cost of the last mile. It becomes so expensive, and the VC-backed companies are now losing that funding, and they can no longer subsidize the cost of delivery like they did before. That will push all those fleets that were backed by outside money to subsidize the cost to find alternatives. One of them will be autonomous vehicles and drones. So I definitely expect to see so much more attention into this area. Because those companies need to sustain themselves and keep their head above the water and leave themselves room for margin for the investors. So I believe that will become more pressure on the market, and with that, we'll start seeing more innovation. So I think within a decade, we can anticipate to see us in a more advanced phase of crossing the chasm.
Got it. So we were kind of talking about 3 or 4 things that we read about all the time, but let me have you put on your futurist hat and look ahead. And you're in your product meetings and things. What do you guys anticipate the world will look like 5 to 10 years from now? What other things might be required, needed, requested, and delivered in a 5 to 10 year time frame?
I'm looking back in my career and my history in software and in general in the tech industry, and I remember all those waves. The wave of and TCS. I worked with you in previous companies like Splunk and HP Software, so we worked on that together. But the data consolidation. We had the ITSM wave. We had mobility wave. We had the cloud wave. I think we have a new wave coming now. And that's the digital transformation of not just the last mile, the entire retail tech stack. That's going to be a big wave that will require a lot of not just technologies innovation, but also system integrators and people to come from the outside with the expertise to help through this digital transformation. And definitely new sort of talent that will be needed, because we're no longer managing a physical world. We're actually moving to managing a physical world in a digital way. So the talent will even need to be different. So I expect for the next 5 years, and then we'll move with the innovative companies to the early adopters and slowly into the mainstream until, and that's our vision, that last mile is completely democratized. And completely democratized means that every brand will have access to unlimited, in essence, effectively unlimited access to driver capacity. Either it's their fleet or someone else's fleet. Everything is digitized, everything is connected, everything is under one control tower, and a layer of logic and artificial intelligence and machine learning that makes the decision for you, that eventually you will create exceptional customer experience. Remember, where, how, and when the customer wants to buy. So creating that in the most efficient way. So I definitely see a world that today is fragmented. I'm seeing a world that is digitized, connected, integrated. And we look at what we do as the economy of deliveries. In our delivery economy, we have the demand. We're already running 150 million same-day delivery through our platform. By the way, the market today already runs about 6 billion deliveries a year. So, and those are inefficient deliveries. Look how much more room we have just to grow all of us together to get the 6 billion same-day deliveries through the digital transformation. So I see it as a wave, and I see it as a wave of building a foundation for delivery economy with demand and supply. Demand coming from the brands, supply coming from the driver capacities, and us finding an equilibrium that eventually that equilibrium and the forces of the market together will become a viable alternative, and sometimes even more efficient than the marketplaces themselves. That's where we see the world is moving, independent of Bringg. Our job in that is to help it happen.
Guy, thank you so much for your time, sharing your wisdom and market insights and views onto the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Good luck to all of us.